Hey guys, how's it going? So a lot of the videos on my channel are about guides, tips and tricks, and things like that. Videos to help you learn the mechanics of the game and learn how to play the game better. A lot of them are focused on things like how to make money, how to do layouts, how to do beautifying on your city. But what about just big picture stuff? You know, the things that you should just be thinking about, maybe just going into the game as a new player, and how you should be approaching the game as a whole, and not more the granular stuff like how to do a production chain or how to check your consumptions. So today, let's take a look at a few things that I think might help you just on the broader scale of understanding and learning Anno 1800. One of the biggest mistakes I see players make is jumping in and clicking New Game, going through and setting up their first sandbox or campaign. You could do either one on the first time, and just clicking normal and hitting start game. That is honestly the biggest mistake you can actually make when starting the game and playing and trying to learn. The normal settings right here gives you a couple of AIs to play against, and Beryl O'Mara is well known for being somewhat of a troublesome AI for newer players because she is one of the most difficult of the medium difficulty AI. So what you really want to do is use settings that cater to your play style and your skill level. You can do that just by clicking on custom over here and setting up how you want your game to play. If you're not interested in playing against any AI and you just want to have a chill game by yourself, you can just delete all of these AI right here and play by yourself. You can also take out the pirates if you don't want to deal with pirates, turn off traders if you want to, though I don't recommend it, change all the different economy settings and different stuff like that. There's a lot of different features you can customize under those custom settings. So play around with these settings and find one that really works with how you want to play the game. Don't just go in and click normal, advanced, or expert and just stick with whatever the developers chose as the default settings. Play around with these settings and make up some settings that make you feel more comfortable and how you want to play the game. And going along with that, know when you need to restart because of a bad map generation. Because if you happen to get a map like this, you would definitely want to restart with a map like this. The reason being is because you get niter and grape fertility on your starting island. If you happen to get any kind of fertilities that's like, especially with niter, if you ever start a game and you have niter as one of your deposits on your main island, I would just go back to the main menu and start over and remake your game and re-roll your seed and everything. Don't go with niter deposits, and grape is included. I would honestly re-roll this because of both of these right here. If I had like maybe potatoes, grain, niter, and red peppers, I would also re-roll. Niter is never something you want on your main island because niter is not used in a lot of recipes and it's really, really late game. And now you're going to have to go and expand out a lot sooner and a lot faster to find islands that have things you need, like red peppers, for example. So this is really a bad starting situation. You also only have 4 oil springs. That's only going to give you enough for 1 oil power plant. And if you have the Bright Harvest DLC, you can get a fuel station with that. So this is not that great. You only have 1 coal deposit. You only have 1 copper. You don't have any zinc. The 2 iron is okay. The 3 clay is decent. But this is a pretty weak starting island right here. So when you see something like this and the resources are not that great on it, go ahead and restart. If you're not familiar with what resources are good for starting island, I have something popping up on the screen right here that I put together just to show you, kind of what resources are really good for the earlier parts of the game and which ones you can ignore until later on that you really want to go find another island for. So pause and take a look at that if you want to. Another really important thing to do, and this is one that I actually get a lot of a surprise out of, honestly, because I see a lot of people don't do this. Explore all of the menu buttons. It really surprises me how many people don't know what a button does or don't know a button exists on the UI because they've never clicked it or they've never paid attention to it. Know what everything does. Down here in the lower left-hand corner, you have the world map. You can click here and you can go to a different region automatically without having to go back to the world map itself, or you can use keyboard shortcuts to go to them as well. You have the diplomacy button. This button apparently is just mystifying to people. I have run into so many people lately that have no clue that the diplomacy button exists, but it's right here. The diplomacy button lets you go in and you can do diplomacy with the different AIs on the map and have actions and treaties and stuff. You have your trade routes button. So many people here lately, a lot of new players don't understand that there are trade routes in the game and they are physically loading up goods from one island to another, and all they're doing is spending all their time transferring goods manually because they don't seem to realize that there's a big trade routes button right here to set up trade routes. So go through and make sure you know what all the buttons do. Super important ones right here, the statistics button. You can get to it multiple ways, but there is right here at the Grand Trading Post. You can click on that, go to statistics, and now you're in the statistics screen, which is an amazing menu with lots of data about your islands and your world and everything else that you need to manage everything. So be sure you're going through and checking all of these different options and all the different buttons on the UI. Everything is clickable. The global population is clickable, and you can see population data right there. Clicking on influence right here brings up the influence menu, and so on. So go through and click on stuff. Don't be afraid to click on things. Click on things. See what they do. And learn all of the UI. It will really help you to get a better handle on the game and how everything works if you know what all the different options on the screen are doing and what all information is available to you in the game. Now this next one's a bit of a two-parter. The first part is you need to really understand the Grand Gallery. The Grand Gallery is absolutely awesome. The Grand Gallery lets you buy items, ornaments, portraits, and skins that you can use in your game. There are a selection of items. Now, these items can be found regularly in the game from places like Eli at his harbor or crafted at Nate. Some of these are only available if you have certain DLCs. But other than that, most of these specialists are from the base game and you can find them different ways. What these allow you to do though is you can purchase these with golden tickets, and then in the game you can go to your trading post and click Call Paloma. There's a little, it looks like a little dove icon, and you can click on Call Paloma and she will deliver all of the specialists that you have currently purchased from the Grand Gallery to your warehouse, and then you have available at the beginning of the game. It's really strong. I cannot tell you how strong having something like Master Craftsman Frank as soon as you reach Artisans and you have unlocked the need for fur coats. Being able to replace the need for fur and cotton fabric with iron and wool is super powerful. It's insanely powerful. Having a Bruno Iron Bright that you can put onto a sewing machine factory at the beginning of the game, boosting that productivity by 50%, and giving you advanced weapons and steam motors that you can either sell or use in Docklands early on is, again, very powerful. So you definitely want to get your hands on these. So what you need to be doing is running some scenarios. That if you have an advanced game already going that has a World's Fair, you can run the Anniversary exhibition to get some, but you can also play scenarios, and each of the scenarios will give you a certain number of golden tickets for either meeting bronze, silver, or gold victory conditions, and then you also get some additional tickets for completing the badges and everything for each of the scenarios. Even just doing bronze will give you about 150 some odd tickets, and that's enough to get like one legendary specialist. Now the specialists do increase in cost every time you buy them, but even just getting like one Bruno, one actor, and one Master Craftsman Frank, even if you just get those three to start out with, it's going to completely change how you play the game. So you definitely want to try to get some of those Grand Gallery specialists as soon as possible, even if you're a brand new player. Jump into the scenarios, even if you suck at them. If you absolutely are just trash at it and you can barely manage bronze and maybe get one badge, it's fine. You'll be okay. That's enough tickets to get you some stuff and to give you a leg up in the early game now, and you can skip a lot of things around and you don't have to be so worried about things like going to the New World and shipping back cotton fabric, having to find red peppers, because the actor specialist will allow you to give canned food to your artisans by just having a variety theater. So it cuts out an entire production chain. So specialists and golden tickets are really powerful, and you should definitely be looking into getting those as quickly as you can. Now, if you are trying to learn how to do layouts or wanting to create some new stamps or just kind of play around with some of the mechanics of the game without any restrictions, definitely be sure to check out Creative Mode. Creative Mode was added within the last year to the game, and it is a way to play the game without having any costs, any consumption or production needs, and no competitors. It's literally a true sandbox experience. I'm in creative mode right now, and I find it really useful for if I want to kind of plan out a new type of layout and everything, or if I want to test some stuff, test how a trade route might work. If I kind of play around with some of the settings on the trade route and mix a few things up, you can just play to your heart's content and just play and test and do whatever you want to in creative mode. There are no restrictions whatsoever. I threw together this whole little city right here in creative mode just as one for a backdrop for, screenshots and, just a general background ambiance kind of thing going on in some of my videos. But I also use it for testing a lot of stuff. I've been using it for testing train layouts, testing coverage distances when I'm trying to decide on a new city layout. I use it for testing all sorts of things, and for even doing some stuff like, maybe coming up with a new design for a harbor or a docklands layout, and I can just plop it all down and see how it looks, and if I like it, I can stamp it. Now, if you're not familiar with stamps, it's really easy. You just come up with something you like, and you click on this little stamp button right here, and you just drag it, and then boom, it creates a new stamp, and you're done. Stamps are great. They're really, really useful. I have plenty of videos about stamps. I'm not going to get into them here. But creative mode is one of the biggest uses for creative mode is making stamps and everything, because you have access to everything in the game unlocked instantly. So you can lay out anything you want and create stamps for it. So be sure to make good use of creative mode when you need to understand something or you want to test the layout to see if you like it without having to go through all the time and effort of building it up by yourself. And last but not least, be sure to join the social media avenues for Anno 1800. We have the Annoverse Discord, we have my Discord server, you have the Anno Reddit, and you have the wiki. The Anno 1800 wiki is honestly probably one of the best wikis I've ever seen for a game. It is so comprehensive. It is so well done. It has, at this moment, 713 pages of information on the wiki. It is literally your one-stop shop for understanding gameplay mechanics and features. Use the wiki, use Reddit, use the Discord servers. They are there to help you. Don't sit there and fumble around not understanding how anything works. Go and ask or look it up yourself. The wiki especially is really, really great. I saw someone the other day that I just having an absolute come apart because he couldn't understand how island takeovers work. He couldn't figure it out. He was struggling with it. He was asking in multiple Discords, and he was just having a hard time understanding and couldn't figure out island takeovers. Well, all he had to do was go right here into the wiki, type in island takeover, and boom, it's right here on the wiki. Everything you need to know about how to do island takeover is right here. So don't sit there and try to figure it out if you're confused about it. And yes, you can ask on Discord and Reddit, but in the time it takes you to ask the question and wait for answers, you can probably find it yourself on the wiki. So make good use of the resources that are out there for you as a player, because there are plenty of them, and you don't need to struggle with not understanding how mechanics work, because there are plenty of ways to figure that stuff out. Alright guys, and that is it from me. Again, these are more just kind of general, broad overview kind of things for Anno 1800 that I do see a lot of people struggling with, and I thought it would be kind of good just to talk about them, to give, my bit of advice and a help on these topics that I see a lot of people asking about. So hopefully they helped you out, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, guys, take care.